Welcome to the Anxiety Coaches Podcast, a relaxing and informative show where we explore anxiety, panic, and PTSD, sharing how you can overcome them for life.
Aloha! Welcome back to the Anxiety Coaches Podcast. I'm your host and coach, Gina Ryan, and I'm really happy that you're here with us again today as we unpack the many ways to heal anxiety, panic, and PTSD using lifestyle changes. In today's show, we're going to be talking about existential anxiety. What is existential anxiety and what can we do about it? You're listening to this audio podcast, so you very well may be interested in some of the books we suggest on audio. For the listeners of Anxiety Coaches Podcast, Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out their service. This is a fabulous opportunity to download something like Eckhart Tolle's Power of Now, or whatever book you feel like listening to. You can get that for free today. Go to anxietycoachespodcast.com/audible trial for your free book. That's anxietycoachespodcast.com/audible trial. The link will be in the show notes and on the website. So for now, let's get into existential anxiety. Deep breath first, I think. Yep. It's also known as existential angst. This is not anything new. We're humans. We exist on the planet, and we think about that because we have the ability to think, and we have the ability to look at our thoughts and think about what we're thinking. So when we start to look at the meaning of life, it can often cause something called existential angst or existential anxiety for people. It's an all-encompassing kind of anxiety and stress. It's alive and well and nagging and pervasive way when we look at trying to make sense or meaning of our lives. This existential angst or anxiety can include feelings like agitation, fretting, our usual anxiety type of symptoms, depending on what yours are, your physical symptoms. People can have panic attacks and depression, all from getting into this thought pattern and thinking about the meaning of their existence. So this can arise from wondering about why we're here. We can have a variety of feelings around this, like it can feel unsettled. We can have a vague discomfort, anxious feelings about everything. It becomes hard to pinpoint exactly what it is that you're feeling anxious about. It just feels like everything has got you ramped up. But at the same time, not being able to articulate what you're actually feeling can really throw you down the wormhole, right? Like this can feel like, I'm afraid of everything. What can I do now? So let's look at this a little bit more closely and see that just like all the other ones that we talk about, it doesn't have to be so frightening. It's a little bit like having the feelings of anxiety of being tired and wired at the same time. Let's look at it as having those racing thoughts, tired and wired, and fear around whatever it is you're considering. And it's different for everybody. But when it's that really big, pervasive, all-encompassing kind of fear about why we're here and what we're doing on this planet, if it is stemming from that, that's what I would call the existential angst, the existential anxiety. It's the anxiousness about life's big questions and about making meaning out of our lives. This feeling of being anxious about everything, nothing, and the feelings that it brings on causes us great stress. Yet this is also often happening because it is our human way of working out what is important to us. So this question doesn't come out of the blue, and it doesn't come up without some purpose. The thinking of it, the fact that you've gotten into a meltdown about it, or you're having anxiety or panic attacks about it, is something challenging, and you want to work your way out of that. But considering your existence and your purpose on this planet is not a problem. So it isn't the thought, but it's our relationship to it that has gotten us into a very uncomfortable spot. So we get these questions when we're starting to ask about the things that are important to us. We ask questions like, how do I make something of myself? What's my purpose? Where do I fit in? Do I have a tribe? And of course, who am I? Well, this pondering and questioning causes us great stress and anxiety and panic in some people. It also gives us the space and the opportunity to create some meaning in our lives. And I know that sounds hard when it's such a difficult feeling, but it really is an opportunity to create a meaningful life. There may be a reason that you're thinking these things. Now, we want to keep you from going down the wormhole with the thoughts, which we can do, but don't be afraid of the thinking itself. Often when I was working with eating disorder clients, and they would be moving forward, right? They were, eating disorder therapy is very, very long. And so I would see clients for a very long time while they were in that particular program. And when they were getting to a point where they were really moving forward, making great progress, starting to feel really good about themselves again, making physical progress also in their health, then they would all of a sudden they would hit this wall, this place of questioning. And often when we would be meeting in our supervision with all the therapists, all of us in there together, we would say, she's having an existential questioning. And it was very exciting. While it felt horrible to the client, it was really a sign to us that this person was beginning to move beyond living in just an eating disordered mind, a very small mind of rigidness, and it was expanding out into who am I, why am I here, and what have I come to do? What can I do while I am here? Although the client would feel like they were taking a downward spiral. But when we worked through with them and they got the care and they learned their own self-compassion around this, and they were curious and open-minded, amazing new revelations came over and over again. They began to see what their desires were and what the direction that they wanted to take in life would be. These new ideas and thoughts would start to emerge. And so sometimes when we're having this happen to us, when we're in a usual, just regular, our daily anxious mind, we can start to wonder if maybe something isn't trying to crack through, if something isn't trying to bubble up. And we can look at that. So don't be so afraid of it. You want to take care of yourself so that you're not feeling anxious all the time and that the anxiety is taking you down. But you want to respect the idea that you are having these thoughts about the bigger picture in your life. It can be an opportunity for growth and for big change. So once again, with anxiety, I talk about often that the anxiety has a silver lining. And so again, I think we're seeing both sides of the challenge here. We're seeing a silver lining to a very anxious and uncomfortable state. We see worry and anxiety, and we can see the liberation that it can bring as we create new or more meaning for ourselves and our families and our communities, because often great things come out of our questioning of our own lives. The caution that I want to say is to not get stuck in the past. We can end up going to something like, I would have done this, I should have done this, I could have done that. And that's really focusing on the past. We want to make sure we don't go back there and start ruminating then on, if I had only gone to college, if I had only finished my XYZ degree, or if I would have only married this person, wherever your own mind will go, you can be cautioned. Now I cautioned you, don't go there. Don't get stuck there. When you see it, when you see a woulda, coulda, shoulda, you want to say, isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting that I'm thinking that? Let it be. Just drop the rope with it. Don't play tug of war with that. The other place we can get stuck is going to the future and looking at going to the future with the most anxiety-causing question that I know of all, which is, what if? So we start looking at the future. We're having this existential angst. We're coming through the other side of it where we've been willing to look at it and our relationship with those questions, and we see an opening and an opportunity, and then we get scared because we're looking at our future and we're getting scared, and we say, what if? What if this? What if that? And because the mind is hardwired to be cautious and fearful, and that fearful negative thoughts stick to us like Velcro, and the positive ones slide off us like Teflon, only because that's how that very early brain, that lizard brain, was wired to keep us safe and alive. And so we have to use our consciousness and the other parts of our brain and our thinking to question that, to just let things be, and not get caught in those scary what ifs. So again, we're calling up our higher selves and just making friends with, although we don't want to give it a lot of energy, with the what if from our lizard brain that's just trying to keep us safe, and just let it go. Isn't that interesting again? Just let it be. Both the past and the future keep us out of the only place that we can do anything about in our lives, and that is the present moment. All of your power is in the present moment, and we live that one moment after another moment after another moment. And it seems like it's fleeting and fast, but the more that you can calm the mind and let the silt settle to the bottom, that pond of your mind becomes clear. So it takes some time, it takes some practice and calmness. So that's why we want to practice sitting. We want to be getting so that we can find ourselves in comfortable places when we are just being, because this is going to help us see things clearly and slow things down so that we're in the present moment. It feels like more than just a fleeting present moment. It slows down, it opens up, there's much more opportunity in there. This takes us right back to our usual ways of dealing with all types of anxiety, right? Practice staying present. That's what we talk about over and over again. And so a few reminders for you today, whether it's existential anxiety, whether you have ruminating thoughts, intrusive thoughts, if you have health anxiety, it's all anxiety. It's just your own variety, your own flavor. And the way that we deal with all of them is to practice staying present with what is right in front of us. And so a few reminders for that is, number one, like I always say, meditate. Learn to meditate. There are 100 different ways that you can do that, and you can learn many, many different forms. But let's just start simply. Let's learn to become present with your breath or the sensations in your body. Sitting, right? And becoming present with the breath for 10 minutes. Just try it. And if you want to try more things and you want some more ideas, listen to podcast number 145 on meditation. It's got a lot of great ideas in there. So jump on over there. If you're serious about getting out of this trap of being thrown into the future or being thrown into the past with all kinds of woulda, coulda, shouldas or what ifs into the future, just start with the meditation. Learn how to slow and calm the activity in the mind down so that you can be more present. Oh, another thing that you can do is to start a gratitude journal. And you've heard me talk about this before. Any kind of journaling is a good place to start with just writing. And although you can do all kinds of apps, I know, and you could even keep one on your computer on a spreadsheet or a document that you filled out all the time. If you have the inclination to do so, putting pen to paper is really activating different parts of our brain. So get into it if you want. Use pen to paper. Start a little journal. You can keep it in your purse, keep it in your desk, and fill it out. Gratitude journal is a great place. If you just want to write out your thoughts and feelings, that's fine too. And you can do that by many different things. You could do morning pages, which has been popular for a very long time. I think it was Julia Cameron who talked about that in The Artist's Way, doing morning pages. I think it's 3 pages before you do anything in the morning, and you just write. There's no form to it. You don't have to use punctuation and or correct spelling. You just keep writing. You write, and you never read it again. It's not to be reread, but it clears the mind. It helps slow the mind down so that it can become creative. Or my favorite one, which is a gratitude journal, where you just jot down the things that have brought you joy or that bring you joy to even think about. It's a wonderful way to activate that gratitude part of our mind and really feel joy in our lives. You can also revisit this journal occasionally to see what it is that appears over and over again. What is popping up often that brings you joy and gratitude? You might want to consider that some of a clue as to what your life purpose might be. Remember, this type of anxiety is not unusual. We do ponder our existence as human beings. And with that, we can also choose to make meaning in our lives and to have peace with our own existence. I hope that this podcast has been helpful for you. And if it is and you want to share it, that would be wonderful. Before I read today's quote, I want to offer you all the opportunity to join our group membership program. It's group coaching that we do twice a month with recorded group coaching calls, and you get 2 anxiety clearing skill sheets each month along with that, and a beautiful Facebook group that is a dedicated community to support you. And I am in there every day answering every question that comes up in there, and you get that all month long. You can jump in and stay as long or as short as you need. It's a beautiful group, and I would love to see you in there. So join us. You can go over to anxietycoachespodcast.com/group-coaching and you can join today. I can't wait to see you in the group. And now for today's quote. No one can advise and help you. There is only one way. Go within. And that is Maria Rilke. I'll be back in a few more days with another podcast. Until then, be well and aloha.
Thanks so much for joining us for today's episode of the Anxiety Coaches Podcast. Find more information at theanxietycoachespodcast.com.